Hello, Sue Rose Minahan, Talk Cosmos host, and today is February 19, 2021, and I have with me for our 10-minute chat on NOWCHAT, pardon me, Sara Stromley, who is a member of the Moonbeam team on Talk Cosmos. We'll be talking tomorrow night, and Sara also has her own sites for healing, and so you can check that below. And we are talking about the event in the news concerning Texas of the storm and Senator Cruz, and the fact that, as Sara had contacted me, that Governor Greg Abbott has taken upon himself to be projecting against perhaps his own problems with the tremendous outages occurring in his state and the hardships, that it's all blaming Biden's Green New Deal. But we're going to make a turn on that. I think Sara we have ideas about this whole situation. Hi, Sara.
Hi. Yeah, so if you pull up the chart here, what was really jumping out to me, I just had to look at the Texas chart with this, because it just, I mean, there's just so much that's big on this. I can sense it's just going to get a lot bigger too. So anytime we see a signature with Pluto crossing a sensitive point, especially like the midheaven, like it is here.
The angle.
Yeah, that is a source of deep transformation that's ready to happen. When Uranus crosses a sensitive point, can be a trauma signature, especially around the ascendant. And
Texas.
Yeah.
Just to tell people that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Texas on the inside and the moment
Uranus
happening.
Yeah, the element of Uranus is electricity, and sudden change, and this kind of seems to be playing into this big thing we've been watching and anticipating as astrologers, is the Saturn square Uranus, transit wise.
Yeah, that's happening all year. That's a good point.
Yeah, 3 times. Yeah, so it's powerful restructuring and sudden change and things potentially chaotic and breaking, that just need to be really reevaluated. And there's so much Saturn in this chart.
With a new model, as you beautifully put. I love this, that it's giving us a chance to think of new models.
So you would definitely see us, we'll get into Saturn later, but Pluto has been hovering around their natal moon and will be, it's like a 6-year transit within orb of that. It's pulling away from it, luckily, but it's definitely triggered, and then there's been a number of eclipses right in there. So I think there's going to be more interesting things that get revealed about what's been going on for the last 2 years, especially. But yeah, there's just been so much, so many power plays going on. There's been...
If I may say, Sara, what you brought up, which is very powerful to realize, is that in Texas, these utility bills, because we're talking about pipes, as you had brought up, that 1,000 pipes have broken, 14 million people.
No. There's, potential. They're saying there's like 1,000 main lines that are potentially broken that they're estimating, or that they're claiming.
Yeah. Pardon me.
And 14 million customers potentially affected right now. There's
which is big numbers, as you're talking about, and Pluto is always very big. And when we're talking about Taurus, that's also a very big signature. So combined they are. But my point is that with the utility board, that they're not even they don't have any residency in the state of Texas, that one's even in Germany. And so there's no accountability for this. And of course, that's a signature that we're looking at astrologically too, is that Capricorn responsibility. And there's no authority nearby. They're just fielding it off to the insurance companies and the utility companies the municipalities that don't have any.
So there's 3 power grids that go across the entire country of the United States. And one of those just covers exclusively Texas. And they've been very resistant to having any regulation, any outside input. And they're you can see them already bucking the system and making that a big topic of their conversation when it's completely inappropriate. When there's people that have been having contaminated water, there's been outages since Sunday morning, and they just got their power up late last night on Thursday night, the 18th.
And the billing,
So
and if I may say, you had
the
also
grotesque,
investigated.
yeah, there's just absurd billing. They've got two different billing systems there, like a straight standard billing, and then they've got another billing that's variant.
Adjustable?
Yeah, they call it variable. So you just pay as you use it and pay as you go. But those people that have used it for only 2 days are getting bills for $3,000.
Oi.
And so there's just an absurd amount of
Inequity
and need for regulation.
It real transformation. Yeah, this is, as you said, it really reveals a real syndrome that's perhaps an opportunity. And perhaps we should mention that, well, we can bring that up later.
And if you look in their natal chart, you see that their Sun Mercury in Capricorn is square that Mars Uranus in the 12th house. That to me is a strong signature of how they threw up their infrastructure quickly based on a level of impatience and need for speed, and maybe just hot-headed input that was coming their way. So I think their whole structure has been kind of haphazardly pieced together. So I think the breaks here are far more significant than we may visually see on the surface.
Well, interestingly, also, if just looking at this chart, because I'm remembering that I was amazed to see that Texas came in as a slave state. And if you look at their Chiron, which is in Libra, that is opposite their Mars in their own area, and that our Mars is now, I mean, the new Chiron, that is showing an inequity of partnership, just to begin with, that perhaps that their motives, as you're suggesting, when they threw it together, were not connected with all the people, that it was really for the pioneering independence, individuality of perhaps a few.
Yeah, so that is a T-square right there. You pointed out a T-square, and then I was not seeing the end piece, but yeah, that makes perfect sense. So yeah, partnering with the right people is the wound. Their capacity and their willingness to help others partner with the right people is their
huge.
Their
Sarah, we have a minute and a half. Yeah, and I'm thinking, I want to bring up the fact that you said, look at this before we go on to another chart, that Pluto versus Pluto. I mean, this is a power struggle.
Pluto.
And because we're having our Pluto return next year, at the same time, I'm going to bring it up right now, that they are having their Saturn return. How they reconstruct and ask for help through the United States with this new Green Deal is going to be very significant of a new role that we have, that we can instrumental, let's say, of how the United States can restructure ourselves along, transform along with their needs that are really tightly aligned. I know you wanted to bring up
Ted Cruz.
Oh my God, and here he is,
such a character.
Yeah. Because his chart aligns exactly with it. It is most incredible how the South Node in Survival Taurus is right with his Saturn of Taurus, and also his Venus, which again, Taurus ruled by Venus, values, is right with their North Node, and even his North Node is with Venus. I mean, it's so tight, and the transits happening right now are exactly, of course, the universe would want to see this, as you said, as a tool.
Yeah. So February Saturn return. It's going to be interesting because he'll be having his Saturn return about the same time.
Yeah, soon enough. Now, Sarah, let's go just 30 seconds. Finish whatever you needed to say, because I wanted to throw that out. We had no time, but we'll go over.
I think we touched on as much as we could possibly touch on. And
oh, it is.
Yeah.
What you said in the very beginning is absolutely true. This is a theme that has such not evidence, but it's very constructive for all of us, and we'll be seeing many more dynamics of this. Pluto does uncover things, and it's sudden, and it touches our chart, and it also, with Ted Cruz abandoning everybody and coming back, it's hard to know just how that will play into the dynamics, but certainly you could see that Texas and here are very closely aligned, but yet there is a lot to be corrected.
And they are very dangerous for the United States financially, with the Pluto
Potentially,
return.
this is huge. Yeah, for them not to, I think the need of the United States is to recognize, yes, of course we're supporting people, but looking at that identity.
This was a human created disaster. And this is like Enron and Katrina having a baby. So in
other words, the better picture might be is how can these areas that the United States helps really help themselves? In other words, they need to restructure, and there needs to be a plan, and it needs to be connected, like in that partnership of Libra. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. All right. We'll talk to you again.